Welcome to Clixed Off, a podcast for HeroClix strategy and tactics discussion. Want to support the show? Check out patreon.com/ClixedOff. $1 and above allows you to vote on our monthly Patreon segment, and $5 gets you into our Patreon-only Discord channel. Additional levels include monthly practice games and private coaching. Now for your hosts, Daniel Powell, Jason Alvey, and Alex Coos.
Hey everybody, welcome to this very special episode of Clixed Off. This is your host Daniel Powell speaking, and joining me is Jason Alvey and Alex Coos. But wait, it is not just an episode of Clixed Off. It is also an episode of
Critical Clix. I'm Scott. Thanks for joining me on Critical Clix. But it's not just that. It's also
Degeneration Clix with Ryan Rebmann. Never mind.
That's it. No, just the three. Just the three. So we're doing a very kind of special episode. We wanted to collectively get together and talk about some of the concerns that we have right now, just with the community. And I want to be clear, it's not, the community has been always one of the best things we have. And we have concerns that, you know, some of the things that have been happening are, I think we all kind of agree, concerning making fake mocking accounts of other players, putting people into categories. And I overall think when we start labeling people, we stop kind of saying that we're all people, we're all HeroClix players or something like that. And we start saying we're different, right? And this allows us to kind of justify what we say to each other and justify those actions. I think Alex put it really well about what we always say about this community. Or can you mention that, Alex, real quick?
It's great. No, it's way to put me on the spot there.
I'm trying.
No, I mean, I think the community at large, especially when we're playing in tournaments and whatnot, it's by far the most friendly community I've ever been a part of, and I've played in so many different games. I think the specific community we're having an issue with is largely the ones, I won't say just online, but those that forget that this game is a game we all pay to play and pay to have fun with. Like, we're all there voluntarily, and I think people forget that they're not forced to be there and forced to experience what they experience. So, and
when we, play this game, right? Like we always used to say, like, even if the games, well, Ryan, actually, you had a good point of kind of this, right? Even if the game's not necessarily fun, it's
yeah, the game's gone up and down, right? But yeah, the thing that we've always been able to say is that what makes it great is the community, seeing the people. That's why we travel, is to see the same people at the same events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of the magical things about this is our kind of connection here. We're all friends. That's one of the reasons I wanted us all to be on. Me and Ryan, we do podcasts because we care about the community. Daniel makes over $200,000 doing Clixed Off, of course. He doesn't even he's never liked the game of HeroClix, but he loves his dirty money. We're all very good friends. We're not running competitive podcasts. But we are playing a competitive game. And, let's just talk real quick where I think some newer players get concerned, or even some people just kind of lose their cool, is the kind of competitive pressure of the game. Like, we all want to win. Like, all of us on this call wants to win. Like, will I beat, Daniel? No. Will I beat Jason? Maybe, but we all, we all want to win. Right. Let's just mention some of the top players, right? Like, who are some of the people that have won HeroClix tournaments recently? Like, when you're
talking about some of the, we've had a really good run of like some super nice players winning this year, which are some exemplary examples. You're talking about, John Michael winning Silver Age.
John Michael's insanely nice. Yes, Isaac. Have you? Isaac's never said. I've never heard him say a bad word about people. He never gets upset. He never, yeah.
I don't know that I've ever heard Isaac say a bad word.
No, actually, he doesn't really swear. So, which is not from his uncle's upbringing, I can tell you that.
He's incredibly nice to play.
Yeah. We some other people that have won recently. Joe, I know Joe is such a great example. Like Joe spends probably the most on the charity auction to help Huntington's. He is such a genuinely nice guy. And he's built like a whole nice community, like our factions and stuff. Dan, you mentioned Joe Safa. Anybody want to talk about
Safa winning CCO earlier this year?
Anybody played Joe Safa and can tell what that's like doing?
I've probably played Joe Safa the most, and the reason that he came to mind is, especially during the online era of a few years past, it seems like every week Joe Safa and I was playing, and we had some just incredibly friendly games. And, it's just one of those things that's what keeps me coming back to play every year, even though the meta shifts, the meta goes up and down. Sometimes we have a Beetlejuice, sometimes we have ID cards and, various things like that. But at the end of the day, I know that I get to play against a Joe Safa. I'm going to get to see Scott or, try to arm wrestle Ryan.
And win every time. It's shocking. That you win every time.
And, that's what really comes back. And, I think to kind of underscore, why we're here today and bringing this kind of special PSA was there's been events that have happened this year that have fueled a very vocal portion of Facebook. But I wanted to mention that, we have a YouTube community at Clixed, and it's not you all, especially if you're not on Facebook, but it's been a very vocal portion of Facebook that has taken some stuff and ran with it. And that's just not reflective of the larger community. And it's not reflective of, say, what a new player should expect getting into the community, seeing these, 100 comment posts about all these various things that have happened this year. Ryan, I know you were mentioning that newer player as well.
Yeah, I played against a new player at Origins, and that's what you like to see, is that somebody that is excited about the game, and they have traveled to their first event. You want that to continue, and it really hit me when I think it was the next week, or maybe it was even that same week, where they we're talking about all of the rumblings of the cheating and collusion and all that stuff, and how he's unsure if he wants to continue going to events, afraid that he'll match up against one of these people. And it's like, this is coming from me, who agreed in the beginning that there was an issue with the cheating and the collusion and all that. The bigger issue has now become the toxicity in the community. And when it comes to the point where new players do not want to join because that's what they are hearing, that's a problem. And I think this is where it really starts to become what needs to be focused on.
And Ryan, you made one last point that I want to make sure you say, which is the people who are spreading this information so feverishly, like, who are like, if we were to, I'm not using names, but if we were to isolate the majority of those people,
it's usually the people that do not travel to events. I and all of us are, I guess maybe not you so much anymore, Scott, but travel to most of the events. We see the same people over and over again. John Michael, Joe Safa, every single event that I go and I travel to them, I talk to them every single day. Mm-hmm. And, those are the reasons that I go there. And so
I think it's very important that we don't spend a lot of our efforts and time listening to people who weren't physically present at the situations. So, I also want to note this for everybody. Two different quick things. One, if you're past like 18 years old, you probably know this simple rule that is, if you're talking a lot of shit about somebody, I absolutely assume you talk shit about me to somebody different when I'm not there. So always remember that. Like if you are, when you're pointing an accusation at somebody, you're always pointing, 4 other fingers back at yourself, or 3 and a thumb. So always kind of consider that. And then remember that HeroClix is not a perfect game. I think we can all agree with that, right? Like, if we were playing chess right now, can you imagine Jason being like, well, I have 2 major championships, but can you guys remind me what the horsey does again?
Yeah.
And I mean, if we all, honest to God, if all 5 of us sat down to a game, there is a good chance at some point in time we would have a question that we can't answer collectively. Right. Absolutely. I mean, I'd have one in the first 10 seconds, but the rest of you might have one too. And that it's an imperfect game. And a lot of the events we're talking about are spoken about like they're, a bunch of snidely whiplashes tying Omen to the train tracks and twirling their mustaches, where they're more often just nuanced and confusing. And maybe people make mistakes. I have certainly made mistakes myself. But at the time, they don't even necessarily feel like mistakes, or sometimes things get changed around. People talk to judges and then a different judge says something different. There's a lot of different things that happen. And if you're not physically there, I think part of the question is, couldn't we just rely on the judges and WizKids themselves to just do their job? I agree.
And there's the game feedback at WizKids.com to provide all of the feedback directly to WizKids about any event that has happened the past few months. And, to bring that around, it's not that we don't want to talk about how to run tournaments better. Ryan, and I think to underscore what Ryan said, it's not that we want people to stop talking about it or whatever. It's we want people to stop fanning the flames of hate, stop calling for these people's heads. Unfortunately, I've seen some threats of violence and some other things that are deeply concerning. There are logical paths to reporting your suggestions, reporting these things directly to WizKids, and yelling online, helps nobody.
If Alex has a problem with his boss, how helpful is it for him to just keep telling me about it? I'm not his boss. I don't know his boss. And even if I convince Jason and Ryan to be like, you're right, what are we doing here? Why are we wasting our time? Maybe it's time to talk to your boss or talk to your boss's boss. That's one of the things. So I want to spend the last few seconds here just on, solutions. Here are some of mine. Don't talk about other people. I understand the internet has given us carte blanche to do this. And, frankly, I am not a perfect person either. And I have never been perfect, but I am going to stop bringing this stuff up. I'm making a pledge to make sure that I'm just never talking about other people. Now, I don't think I do that a lot by any means, but you can hear it right here. Assume the best and often assume mistakes. A long time ago, there was somebody who did a 3 square sidestep, and that became half of their legacy. And it's just the simplest mistake of you're getting somewhere and you just don't remember where it is. And we have no idea what's going on in a person's head. But stuff like that shouldn't be their marker. Remember, it's fun. It's a hobby. As we said, send the problems to WizKids. And I think the biggest one is just stop pouring gas on it. Even if you agree the other way, or, you're trying to help, Lord knows I've tried to reach in and help multiple times, and that does nothing. I honest to God think there's a better chance of me next time I see Ryan for him to ride in on a fucking unicorn than for me to convince somebody I don't know on Facebook that they're wrong and then be like, oh my God, thanks for telling me. It doesn't help. It doesn't just, if you're in these chats that don't serve anything and are toxic to humans, like real humans, all these people are humans that were playing a game. Nobody embezzled money. There's no, if you cheat the most possible at HeroClix, you definitely heard a tournament, and that's not good, but you didn't push a kid in front of a car. These are different things, and like going to the point of that is extreme. So if people are being toxic, block them. If people are spreading misinformation or hurtful words, jump off that thread. Stop putting more into it. It's not helping, and I think it's beginning to bleed over into, as Ryan said, kind of the general community. To borrow Dan's line, maybe final thoughts.
Yeah, I think I'll wrap up my end because I never get to go first on final thoughts, which I'm excited to do. And I think I would point out that this group of folks may even be further emboldened by this particular episode that we're recording right now, and it'll be a good exercise for folks out there to just do what Scott suggested and just not fuel the flames. Pour some water on the flames, folks. That's my final thoughts.
Jason, perhaps?
I would just encourage everybody to go out and experience the events for yourself and make up your own mind and not listen to what everybody's saying online. I think going to the events is a fun thing. It's like a family reunion for a lot of people. That's what I say. That's what I say all the time.
I love that.
Just show people some grace, and none of us are perfect. We all get frustrated sometimes. Just go and have fun. You might be surprised how good time you have.
Absolutely. Maybe Alex.
So my final thought is, if you're out there thinking about creating another fake profile, do what I do. Just think WWLLD. What would Leaker Larry do? Did Leaker Larry share a bunch of raise Cain about different people in the community? No, he shared legacy figures so we could all buy them before everyone else could, right? He was there for the community.
He was there for us.
He was there for us. So just channel him.
Ryan.
So this was actually already something that we were talking about doing. So the opportunity came along to talk about this. We jumped right on it, and I did. And so I just want to say that we will not be addressing any of the past events. If there's new stuff, sure, there's nothing wrong with talking about it. But this headhunting is really what's become the biggest toxic thing. And so I know for us, we're not going to be engaging in it anymore. So I'd like to see more people also follow that suit, because that's really what's become the biggest problem now, is the toxicity and the fanning of the flames.
I can commit to that. I don't need to bring that stuff up again.
Yeah, same here.
Anything else, Ryan, or is that good?
I think that's good for me.
I would just say, first and foremost, Dan mentioned, I hadn't considered that this might embolden people. I don't dislike anybody, and everybody's entitled, of course, to their opinions and such like that. But I'm hoping that we can keep being the amazing community that we have been. And I think that's worth fighting for. It's worth all three podcasts getting together and, on a Sunday night to briefly talk about not HeroClix fully, because this is an absolutely amazing community. It's where I've literally spent more time than high school, more time than all school at this point in time. I've been playing longer than I went to all school combined. So the people here are very special to me. And, just really try to think about, is it really worth hurting somebody? Is it really worth labeling somebody? Because I don't personally think so. Try to look at the positives, and if you have problems, send them to the top. WizKids hates negative feedback. I can tell you that. So if you wanna, they'll listen if they get enough things. They definitely will. They'll definitely listen. But yeah, guys, I want to thank you all for getting together and everything like that. So we kind of worked on this. I think we said start with Dan.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening to Clixed Off today. And thank you for listening to
Critical Clix.
Degeneration Clix.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Clixed Off. Check out our Discord and Patreon. This ending is super weird. Why? Because Daniel Powell forgot to send Critical Clix this podcast ending.